So continuing with the structure of atom, we are doing some more questions. They are short as well as long answer questions. So first of all, let us take first question. That is structure of atom, class 9th. Unit is structure of atom. This is class 9th. Lecture number 7th. Now first question is, what happens when electric field is applied on cathode rays? So answer to this question is, when electric field is applied on cathode rays, they start moving towards the positive plate of the applied electric field. So answer is, they start moving towards the positive plate of applied magnetic field, applied electric field, as well as magnetic field both. If magnetic field is imposed on these rays, again they will get deflected towards the positive plate of the applied magnetic field, showing that they are made of negatively charged particles. Then we have the next question. What do you convey from the information that atom is electrically neutral? What do you convey from information that atom is electrically neutral? The information from this statement is that atom has equal number of negatively charged particles, they are electron, and that of positively charged particle, they are proton. So when number of positive charges they are equal to the number of negative charges, then it is said that atom is electrically neutral. Then we have the statement, question number 3, the mass of atom is contained in nucleus. It is true to say that nucleus contains whole of the mass of the atom, because electrons possess negligible mass. The mass of the atom is mainly due to electrons and protons, which are situated in the nucleus. They are called as nucleons. Since electron has negligible mass, so mass of atom would be mainly due to protons and neutrons, or we can call them as nucleons. So this also constitutes the mass number of an atom. Then we have, what information is conveyed from the statement that mass number of magnesium is 24 and atomic number is 12. What information is conveyed from Mg 1224? So information is, number 1, symbol of magnesium is Mg. Second is its mass number, which is shown as superscript, is 24. Third is its atomic number is 12. Fourth, it has 12 electrons. it has 12 protons and 12 neutrons. So these are the informations conveyed by the symbol Mg1224. Then we have fill in the blanks. In an atom, the number of dash is same as that of number of dash. So in an atom, the number of electrons is same as that of the number of protons. So this will be the words which will be put in the empty spaces. Now sodium has how many electrons in the valence shell? Sodium has 1 electron in the valence shell, and it has one more electron than its sodium positive ions. Then isotopes of the element, they are similar, similar. They are chemically similar because they have same number of valence electron, which determines their properties, chemical properties, and they have same number of electrons. Then we have fill in the blanks. Question number 2. The charge on positive rays depend upon dash of the gas. That depends upon the nature of the gas taken in the discharge tube, and depends upon how much voltage is passed through the discharge tube. Then anode rays, they are positive rays obtained from dash gas, consist of only protons. So anode rays obtained from hydrogen gas, they consist of only protons, since hydrogen contained only one electron which is lost during the discharge experiment. So it will be having only one proton. Then we have the volume of nucleus is how many times that of volume of complete atom. Volume of nucleus is 10 raised to power minus 5 times shorter than the total volume of the atom. Then we have third question for filling up the blanks. Atoms have central core which is called as nucleus. It is surrounded by electrons. Then volume of atom is provided in some way by its, that is, electrons. So nucleus is concentrated in a very small region, so whole of the volume is contributed by electrons. Then we have the magnitude of dash charge on the nucleus is different for different isotopes. So magnitude of the positive charge is different for different isotopes as well as the atoms. Then we have next fill in the blanks. Neutrons have mass equal to dash but have electric charge. Neutrons have mass equal to protons, but they are positively charged. They are neutral as compared to proton which are positively charged. Then all the protons are identical and have a charge equal to, that is, plus 1.602 into 10 raised to power minus 19 coulomb. The electrons have practically dash no mass as compared to the total mass of the nucleus. So they don't have mass. We have written earlier they have negligible masses. Then number of protons in the nucleus of an atom is called as its atomic number. So number of electrons in the extranuclear part or number of protons in the nucleus, they are called as atomic number. They represent the atomic number of the species. Then we have fourth fill in the blanks question, that an atom has mass number of 32 and it has 16 neutron. The number of electrons, so number of electron, that will be 16 in this case, because 32 subtracted 16 subtracted from 32, it will give you the 16 electrons in that case. Then we have the number of protons and neutrons present in the nucleus. They are collectively called as nucleons, and they collectively form the mass of atom. An atom has atomic number or mass number of 35, atomic number 17. The number of neutrons, as we know, it is given by mass number minus the number of atomic number or number of electrons. So we will be having 18 neutrons in this species, that is chlorine atom. An atom has 12 protons, 12 electrons and 12 neutrons. The mass number of this element, that will be 24 atomic number, that will be 12. So these are the fill in the blanks type of question. We have done those questions. Then we have symbols of few elements. Question number 5, you are given with the symbol of carbon, hydrogen and sulfur, and you are asked to complete the table in terms of what? Number 1, you have to write the atomic number of these species. Atomic number you might have memorized up to now. Atomic number of carbon is 6, hydrogen is 1, sulfur is 16. Then they ask the electronic configuration. Electronic configuration of carbon will be 2, 4, K cell contain 2 electron, L cell contain 4 electron. It is 1 electron in the K cell, L does not have any electron, it will be having 2, 8, 6, it will be having 3 cells. So this is the completion of table. If you are asked this type of question, you will have to complete the statement by this. Then we have the next, why noble gases possess zero valency. This is our question number next. Why noble gases possess zero valency? It is because of their complete octet. Except helium, all the noble gases, they have 8 electrons in their outermost shell or valence shell, so they don't have any tendency to accept extra electron. Similarly, helium, where there is only K cell present, it has 2 electrons, and capacity of K cell is to accommodate only 2 electrons, so it can also not accept the electron. That's why the valency of noble gases, it is 0, because they don't have the tendency to combine with other elements. Both element helium and magnesium, they possess 2 electrons. This is our next question. They possess 2 electrons in the valence shell. Why is helium an inert gas but magnesium is not? The reason for that is the shell, which is valence shell of helium, its capacity is to keep 2 electrons, so it is having 2 electrons in the K cell. But in case of the magnesium, the 2 electrons, they are present in the M cell, and the capacity of M cell is to accommodate 8 electrons. Therefore it can accommodate more electrons, or it has the combining capacity. Its valency cannot be 0. It has the tendency either to lose those 2 electrons or either to accept 6 electrons. So that's the reason that magnesium cannot be considered as the noble gas, or you can call it as a inert gas. Then we have the next question. Give 2 conditions under which cathode rays are produced. First condition is we have to pass a high voltage, that is 5000 to 10,000 volts, through the gas taken in the discharge tube. Second condition is under a very low pressure the cathode rays can be produced. The pressure inside the discharge tube, it should be 10 raised to power minus 3 atmosphere of mercury. Only then the cathode rays, they can be produced. And we have the next question. What are isobars? We have already studied isobars. These are the atoms of different elements which are having different atomic numbers, but their mass numbers are similar. We have studied isobars of argon and calcium. Atomic number of argon is 18, calcium is 20, but their mass numbers are 40. So they are called as isobar, that is argon and your calcium, they are called as isobars because they have different mass numbers, but they are having same mass number, but they are having different atomic numbers. So these are the isobars of 2 elements. They are argon 18 and 40, calcium 20 and 40. So these are the isobars. Then what are inert gases? Why do they exist as a monatomic molecules? As we know, the elements of 18th group, they are helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon. They are called as inert gases. Although they are no more called as inert gases, but previously they were called as inert gases. Since their valence shell is filled to capacity, they don't have the tendency to combine with other atoms. That's why they are called as inert gases. But nowadays the compounds of xenon, krypton, they have been prepared. That's why they are no more they are called as inert gases, but they are now called as the noble gases. Who prepared first compound of noble gases? So first compound of noble gases was prepared by Neil Bartlett. Prepared first compound of noble gases. After this, large number of compounds of noble gases they were prepared. Now we have the question: give important properties of isotopes. First is they have same atomic number, different mass numbers, they have different number of neutrons, they have same number of electrons and protons, their chemical properties are similar since they have same number of valence electron, therefore chemical properties are similar, but their rate of action might be different. Due to their different masses, they may have different rate of action. This is also called as isotopic effect. Then in what way Rutherford model is different from Thomson model of atom? Rutherford proposed a model in which he clearly differentiated between nucleus and extranuclear part, while Thomson has not differentiated between the nucleus and extranuclear part. He simply said that atom is a uniform sphere of positive electricity in which negatively charged electrons are embedded, but Rutherford gave a clear-cut direction that in every atom there is a dense positively charged center which is called as nucleus, in which protons are embedded or they are kept around the nucleus. There is large empty space which is called as extranuclear part. It contains electrons which are revolving in different circular paths. Now what are the postulates of Bohr model of atom? We have already studied the postulates of Bohr model of atom, so we are not going to discuss those postulates. Then who discovered anode rays? Anode rays were discovered by Goldstein. He performed same experiment as was performed by the Thomson, but using perforated cathode, and he saw some rays they were traveling towards the cathode. They were appearing to be coming from anode and were moving towards cathode. That's what they were called as anode rays, or they were called as canal rays. Then we have what was the describe Bohr-Bury scheme for distribution of electron in an atom. For distribution of electron in an atom. So Bohr-Bury scheme was: number one, the distribution of electron, the energy level, the energy cells are filled in order of increasing their energies. This was the first point which was given by Bohr-Bury rule. So first of all, K cell is filled to capacity. After this, we will move to the L cell, and filling of the L cell is accompanied by filling of M cell and so on, KLMNOP. In this manner, we will proceed to fill up the electron. And the maximum number of electron which can be accommodated by a cell, that is by 2n² rule. First, filling of electrons in order of increasing energies. First of all will be fill up K cell, then L cell, M cell, N cell, O cell, P cell, and so on. Second is electrons are filled by 2n square rule, where n is number of cells in which electrons are to be filled. So if in the first cell we'll see 2 electrons, in second cell it will be 8 electron, in third cell it can be 18, and so on. It is not necessary that energy level or cell they are fully filled before filling in the next level starts. In fact, filling of the electrons starts when the cell contains 8 electrons. So after filling of the 8 electrons in the second cell and third cell, the next electron can go to the higher level, that is can go to the fourth level also. Then we have the definition. Define following terms. Atomic number we have already defined, it is the number of electrons or protons present in an atom. Then we have mass number, it is equal to the sum of the nucleons, means neutrons and protons. Then we have atom, we have already defined it. Ion, it is a electrically charged atomic species formed by loss or gain by an atom. If atom loses electron, it acquires positive charge and is termed as cation. If it gains electron, it acquires negative charge and is termed as anion. Then we have the element, it is the purest form of a substance which can neither be decomposed into nor be built into simpler particle by ordinary physical or chemical means. Then what is orbit? Orbit is a fixed circular path around the nucleus where electrons revolve. Then define nucleons. Nucleons we know these are the species which are present in the nucleus. These species are neutrons and protons which are present in the atom. Then what do you mean by structure of atom? Atom is no longer an indivisible particle. It is divisible into electron, proton and neutrons. All these particles, they are called as fundamental subatomic particles which are present in the atom. So nucleus of the atom contains neutron and proton, around which the electrons which have negligible mass, they move in the circular path. The energy of the electron does not change by itself, but once the energy is given from outside, the electron absorbs that energy and can move to the higher level with which its energy matches, and that state of the electron is termed as the temporary state. After some time, electron has to return back and returns back well and comes to the ground state. The wavelength of the light so absorbed or emitted can be calculated by formula Sc over E2 minus E1. E1 is the energy of lower level from where electron has excited, and E2 is the energy of higher level in which electron has gone. Lambda is the wavelength of the light which is emitted when electron comes back to the original state, or wavelength of the photon of the light which was absorbed by the electron to move to the higher level. H is Planck's constant and C is the velocity of light. So this is all about our unit, that is structure of atom. Then we in the next lecture we will be starting with the next unit, that is 10th class first unit, that is chemical equations and reactions.